What if the foods you eat every single day, thinking they're healthy, are quietly damaging your liver without you even realizing it? Imagine this. You're doing what you believe is right. You're choosing low-fat options, protein bars, maybe a smoothie, maybe a salad with dressing you saw labeled as heart-healthy. You feel like you're making smart decisions. But weeks go by, months go by, and something feels off. Your energy drops, your digestion slows, your skin doesn't look as clear, and maybe your labs come back with something you didn't expect, elevated liver enzymes. Now you're confused, because you weren't eating junk food, you were trying to be healthy. And that's exactly where the problem begins. Because most damage doesn't come from what's obvious. It comes from what's repeated, quietly, daily, under the label of healthy. I remember a conversation with someone who told me, I cut out fast food years ago, but I still feel worse than I did before. At first, that doesn't make sense. If you remove the worst inputs, you should improve. But when we looked closer at what they were actually eating, that's when the truth showed up. Not obvious junk, not soda, not fast food, hidden ingredients, processed health foods, protein bars with long ingredient lists, low-fat products filled with additives, shakes that look clean, but are built from isolated compounds, things marketed as clean, but working against the body internally. And the organ that takes the hit first is your liver. Because your liver doesn't care about labels. It doesn't care if something is called keto, low-fat, or high protein. It only responds to chemistry. What enters your body has to be processed. And your liver is the gatekeeper. Your liver is not just another organ. It's your primary filter. It processes everything you eat, drink, and absorb. It converts toxins into something less harmful. It regulates fat metabolism. It supports digestion through bile production. It helps stabilize blood chemistry. It even influences how your blood clots. And it does all of this continuously. No breaks, no off days. Now here's the part most people don't realize. Your liver can compensate for a long time. You can overload it and not feel anything immediately. That's why this becomes dangerous, because by the time symptoms show up, that system has already been under stress for a while. And when it starts to struggle, the effects don't stay isolated. They show up everywhere. Your skin loses clarity. Your energy becomes inconsistent. Your hormones shift. Your metabolism slows. Your digestion becomes less efficient. And most people try to fix each of those individually, without realizing they all trace back to one central system. So today, we're going to break down 7 common ingredients found in everyday foods that can quietly damage your liver over time. Not to scare you, but to give you clarity. Because once you see the pattern, you stop guessing. And more importantly, you can start making better decisions immediately. Let's start with the first one. Soy protein isolate. This shows up in protein bars, shakes, meal replacements, and even some healthy plant-based foods. On the surface, it sounds clean. High protein, low carb, convenient. Exactly what most people are looking for. But convenience often hides complexity. And the process to create it is anything but natural. To isolate the protein from soy, manufacturers use chemical solvents, often hexane, a petroleum-derived compound. Then it's heated, bleached, and refined multiple times to strip away everything except a concentrated protein fraction. At that point, it's no longer a whole food. It's a reconstructed ingredient, disconnected from the natural balance it originally came with. That means you're not just consuming protein. You're consuming something that has been aggressively processed, stripped, and rebuilt. And your liver is responsible for handling that entire load, filtering it, breaking it down, trying to neutralize compounds your body was never designed to process in that form. And when this becomes a daily habit, that workload compounds. Now here's where it becomes real. I've seen people switch to these products thinking they're improving their health. They follow the labels. They track macros. They stay disciplined. They lose some weight, but something doesn't look right. They look depleted, inflamed. Their energy is unstable. Their digestion becomes inconsistent. And in some cases, their liver markers actually worsen. Because weight loss does not always equal metabolic improvement. The lesson is simple. Just because something is labeled high protein doesn't mean it's low stress on your body. Now let's move to the second one, fructose. And this is where things get even more misunderstood. Most people think sugar is just sugar. But inside your body, different sugars follow completely different pathways. Glucose can be used by almost every cell. Fructose cannot. It is processed almost entirely by the liver. So every time you consume high amounts of fructose, whether it's from high fructose corn syrup, sweeteners like agave, or even excessive fruit juices, your liver is forced to deal with the entire load. There is no distribution, no backup system. It all goes through one organ. And when that load becomes too frequent, it starts converting that excess into fat, not body fat first, liver fat. This process is called de novo lipogenesis, and it happens quietly, without immediate symptoms. That's how fatty liver develops over time. Not from obvious junk food alone, but from repeated exposure to sugars the liver has to process alone, especially in liquid form, where absorption is even faster. Now let's talk about something even more deceptive. Vegetable oils. They sound healthy. They're marketed as heart-friendly, light, clean. But here's the reality. These oils, like soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, are highly processed, chemically refined, and extremely unstable. They are extracted under high heat, refined to remove odor and color, and often oxidized before they even reach your plate. They oxidize easily, and when they do, they create inflammation inside your body. That inflammation doesn't just affect your joints or your heart. It directly impacts your liver, which has to process these damaged fats and manage the oxidative stress they create. That inflammation doesn't just affect your joints or your heart. It affects your liver directly. Because again, it's the organ responsible for processing these compounds. And when you look at how much of these oils the average person consumes, it adds up fast. Now we move to whey protein powder. Another health product that can backfire. The issue here is not just the protein, it's the concentration and the isolation. When you remove fat and other natural components, you change how the body responds. Whey protein, especially in large amounts, can spike insulin and increase inflammation. And many of these powders aren't just whey. They're combined with the next problem on this list, maltodextrin. This is one of the most overlooked ingredients in modern food. It's a synthetic carbohydrate, and it spikes blood sugar faster than glucose. Let that sink in. Faster than sugar, and it's everywhere. Protein powders, healthy snacks, supplements, even products labeled as low carb. Your liver has to process the aftermath of those spikes, and over time, that contributes to fat accumulation and metabolic stress. Now let's shift to something most people never think about, aflatoxins. These are toxins produced by certain molds, and they are directly harmful to the liver. You'll most commonly find them in poorly stored peanuts and corn. This isn't about occasional exposure. It's about repeated intake over time, low-level toxicity that builds quietly. And because it's not immediate, most people never connect it to how they feel. Now the last one, MSG. This is used as a flavor enhancer in many processed foods. It makes food taste better and makes you want to eat more of it. But it also places additional stress on your system, including your liver. Because once again, your liver has to process and neutralize what your body doesn't need. Now step back for a second. Because this isn't about memorizing a list. It's about recognizing a pattern. Highly processed inputs require more work from your body. More work means more stress. And over time, that stress shows up as dysfunction. Now here's the important part. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect. It means you need to be aware. Because once you start reducing these inputs, your body starts recovering. Your liver starts functioning more efficiently. Fat processing improves. Inflammation decreases. Energy stabilizes. And then something interesting happens. You start noticing the difference. Not just in how you feel, but in how your body responds. Now, if you're wondering what to eat instead, focus on real, whole foods, especially cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, arugula, kale, and Brussels sprouts. These support the liver's natural detox pathways, not by forcing anything, but by providing what your body already uses. And that's the shift. You stop fighting your body and start supporting it. Because your health is not determined by one meal. It's determined by patterns, repeated daily inputs, small decisions that either move you forward or slowly pull you backward. So the question becomes simple. Are you feeding your liver or overloading it? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.